Okay, guys. Hey, this is Simon and Ben. Ben, good to have you back again for a coaching session. Again, he's been kind enough to share these with the public. And so, Ben, what my goal here today is to explain how to plug structure in along with the trade setup, so you see them together, right? And
Wonderful.
so
Sounds great.
we're going to cover a little bit of a third wave concept. So first, let's catch everyone up to speed. First of all, how's your trading been going? If you can catch me up to speed on it, because it's been a
Yeah,
tough
really
market.
good. I'm getting more consistent. I'm getting better at making decisions about whether or not I want to get involved at all. And I'm taking less trades with better win rates. I think the hardest thing that I've struggled with in the last couple weeks is just sizing appropriately, trying to figure out whether or not this is a good place to push size or not. Those kind of decisions once I'm up on the day, for instance.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So the first thing I want to go, so first we have to acknowledge the ranges have just gone insane, right? So
Yeah.
that makes just the emotional management of that is really a challenge. And before I keep going, for those of you who are watching it, because I know you have so many followers, if you would like to join us in the room, try the room out. So let's give them all the details. First, it's trade and perform at gmail.com. That's how you ask for a 3-day trial. The costs. If you just want to be in the room, see the live trading with me, Ben, all the room members, the charts that I post in the morning, and the algo as shared from my screen into the room, trade and perform at gmail.com is how you get a hold of me. The cost of the room, it's $95 a month to join the room and again see all that. If you want the algos on your desktop for Sierra Chart, right? If you want all that on Sierra Chart, it's $250 a month, and that includes access to the room and the time it takes for me to set it up on your desktop. So that's the shameless marketing part of it. Ben, I think you could testify that the 250 should be easily covered if you learn the process and follow the process. Um,
No question at all.
what I want to show, and you'll see I had this. So let's show everyone who may be watching this for the first time. We'll just catch them up really quick. What we're primarily looking for in the room, there's a bunch of setups here, right? We can go through all kinds of setups all day long, but what we are looking for is first the idea that within a move, there's a purple bar on the downside and there's a pink bar on the upside. And what we want in pretty close succession, meaning within 3 bars, is a we want a pink bar followed by a bar with a star. We want it within 2 bars of where that star appears. That's our primary trade right now. And the reason, and then our second trade is if you get a purple bar, and then the next little white line on the next bar, which is the point of control, is above that purple bar, then you are often, though not always, off to the races. And that's what we're focusing on right now. Has that been your primary trade for the last couple of days?
Yep. Those two are mostly what I'm looking for.
And then the last one would be the purple bar with a star on it. That has to be within
Right.
context on that particular trade. And I'm going to explain that. So let's go to a trade you nailed last night, which was 3 in the morning. What range bar were you on, please, sir?
I was on the 30 chart to find the star, but I was trading the 20, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you were long right, and that 30 had it nailed. Well, it
Right
showed up
there.
on the 24. So when this purple bar shows up on a giant down wave, so this is a third wave, which I'm going to cover with you today. That bar is
Yeah.
so golden. So that's different than when you're off the highs and you're looking for that
Yeah.
trade, right? This trade has to set up in a very specific manner, right? So Ben, you nailed that on the turn. There has to be a big wave accompanying that trade in order to take it, or it has to clear a
Okay.
power bar like this and then get that star. So the beauty of that trade,
Oh,
so the
yeah.
importance about this is you'll notice is we've tightened up the stop from 2 bars to 1 bar, which means you have about a 15-point stop on the current range that we have, which is very, very important for survivability. And the RR is clearly in excess of 1 to 1. Like in some cases, it's like last night, you were in a 10 to 1 situation on your risk
It
reward.
was 10 to 1. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is really fantastic. So, what I want to cover with you today is taking those trades, but tying them in with context, right? So I'm going to go back to talking about waves to low and waves to high so you understand what we're looking for. So in this case, let's keep it simple. A wave to the low is this entire wave down, right? So if we just go look, I'm just going to draw this in broad market. If this is the wave to the low, notice that once we close above it, we tend to go higher. Now, this is kind of story tale because that wave is so big that I wouldn't have used it. But if you look at the inverse here, right? See how this is the wave to the high overnight? This is the wave to the high.
Yep.
Right? And if you look, once we close clearly underneath that, the momentum has clearly changed. See, once we get this bar underneath here. Now, in this case, normally what you'd want is a backside test. And we have other techniques for measuring how we want to get in that wave, so on and so forth. But that wave gets you underneath. So I want to talk about three waves tonight. So a three wave is something that's very, very specific. And it's very easy. There's no count to it. A three wave is a wave that is bigger than the prior. So on my screens, white is red, meaning white are down waves, green are up waves. And these are cumulative volume waves. So what I'm looking for is very simple. I want my wave down to be bigger than my prior two waves of the same color, right? So it works both ways. I can get a three wave off the bottom. If I get a three wave off the bottom, that usually tells me that that is going to be an impulse move to the upside. Why is that important? Because when I see this wave up, and then see how I get the purple bar with a point of control above, I'm going to be very eager to take those trades, right? Versus if this purple bar comes on a tiny wave, I'm going to be concerned that I will get stopped on that trade, right? So remember, just taking these blindly works pretty damn well, right? Meaning when you get the pink bar or the purple bar, or you get a purple bar with a point of control above, that trade all on its own, right? Like even when you're up here, right? Pink bar, star, and you go, right? So what I'm trying to do is give context so you know how to extend that trade. So we can't control our environment, and what I'd prefer is the third waves to be, I measure third waves in two different ways, and it doesn't always line up perfectly. So on the overnight, normally I would be on the 20, so I'm going to knock it down to a 20 for just a second. See how when we pushed up here, I'm just trying to show you the dichotomy of larger structure so you can get bigger trades, right? And let's go for a second and remove the chart off of this. There we go. So I would be on the chart overnight. There we go.
Yep.
I would be on the chart overnight, and I look and I go, this is my third wave down, right? I see how I'm on a third. See how that I can clearly see this is a third wave. So as I see this wave building, I want to say two things about this because there's some confusion. If you wait for this, how do you know when this wave has completed? I'm going to answer that question. When you see two bars, if you'll notice what's missing in that component all the way down. So these bars are just matching the bars here. So once you get two back-to-back bars that are positive, that's when that wave switches over. So this wave will close out when you get two up bars. 1, 2. Do you see that?
Yep.
Okay. Now you will also notice that particular bar on the third wave gave you a purple bar with a star. So see, this one gave you the purple bars down, right? So what I'm waiting for is to get the purple bar, and then if I see two up bars, 1, 2. So this is a bit of a trick. If you take this bar prior to this wave closing, you may just get like it might do what it did right. This is how you avoid these stops. I'm going to show you. Prior to this wave closing, if you'll wait for your first two up bars, so all you'll see is you're like, oh, there's two up bars. The wave is printed. See how it's, even though you get the third bars down, see how this third bar is down? The new wave up has begun. Do you see that?
Right, so it's already turned green. Yeah, I've definitely seen that on the algo.
Okay, so what you want is you go, okay, if this prints a star, what you're hoping for in this case is that it'll print a third up bar. And if to keep it a 1 bar stop, you're hoping for a quick backside test of this bar, because otherwise you're in danger of taking each up star in the midst of a big down wave. Okay, so that's one way to catch a turn. right? And you can see quite clearly this gave you the backside test. Also lining that up, which that was location on the chart at 230 as well. So that's one way. So now let's look at the other side of the trade, right? So see over here. Okay, so we do not take this in the room right now. See, I get the purple bar and then the triangle down. We do not take that. We want a pink bar, excuse me, on the upside, pink bar and star down. And what I want you to do is, what we're discussing here is how do we cut down on stops if there are any, and there normally aren't that many stops, but how do we cut down on them? So you'll see over here on the edge, see how you didn't get any stops because you just didn't get it set up. Do you see that? It just didn't set up over here. But see how once you're underneath, so I want you to notice two things. See, once you're underneath the wave, right, you'll notice that, see how you got this purple bar and this star? You do not want to take that trade, okay? Because you're going to shove right up into resistance. What you're really hoping for is that this will push up and give you a roll. As a matter of fact, what you'll see is this was diverging up, and then this wave down. See this wave down? That wave down is really big. See how big that wave is there? Like, it's clearly bigger than everything around it, right? What you were hoping for there, this wave now becomes your resistance up here. Okay, so now you're going to have to get a little bit lucky to make this trade work. Okay, so how do we get lucky? What defines getting lucky on that trade? I'm going to show you. You're going to draw the wave.
Probably getting a retest, I would guess.
Yes, sir. And now, in addition, usually that retest will coincide with a 50-60 retrace. See that?
Yeah.
Okay, now at the 50-60 retrace, let's go. Now we take it a next step further because anybody can do that, right? Everyone has a 50-60 available. There's other people that ladder them. So what makes our trade special versus what anyone else is doing, right?
Which one? Which one to take?
Right, which one to take. So you'll see you have two options here. Pink bar. Excuse me, pink bar. Point of control underneath. That clearly goes to profit. So just for people who are watching, they get a clear idea. If you're trading two contracts on this, right? Your entry is here at 13,140. Your stop is at 13,152. So that means your risk is 12 points. I'm usually trying to scale at 10 points. So 30 brings up my first scale. I have a higher than 60% win rate. I don't need a 1-to-1 RR. And on this push down, I clearly get my 10 points. This is on a 20-tick chart, right? And the best I could have done would have been from 40 to 16, which is about 25 points. That little move is $500. Like, most people don't make that much money in the course of a day, right? And I certainly would have closed it out. Sometimes I'm not taking the signals long. Like, why am I not taking this long? Because I'm pushing right back up into resistance, right? And in this case, so now I'm gonna show you a little bit. So the natural question will be, well, if that's on a 20, what's on a 24? So let's just go, and instead of doing that, let's reload this chart really quick to a 24. And let's limit the data here so we don't spend all day loading it to 5 days. Should load in just a second. So all the drawings will still be there from what we just did.
Right. Cool.
So now what we wanted and we did not get, right? We got the first trade right over there. So remember, there's another trade, which is if you take out the swing. So I don't want to confuse people, but take out the swing. This just missed being a dream trade, right? See that right there, how you missed it, and it makes another impulse move down. But see when it comes back in? So you know all of this is resistance, right? So notice that on this case, see how it's one bar to find out. It's one bar to find out, can you get your trade? And each time, see how over here, we're going to ask the same question. Do I get my risk off on this trade, right? So what we're trying to engineer is this piece over here on the right. So if you look over here, your entry is right here at 33. The best you could have done on scale is 13. That's still 20 points or $400 a contract, right? Now, because we're in the middle of the night, I'm going to keep switching back and forth, right? So I'm on the same chart. Okay, this is that same chart. We don't get the trade. It's too bad that wasn't a pink bar because that was otherwise perfect, right there.
Right.
And that happens
Location-wise,
sometimes.
it's good too. Yeah, I
That's
see what you mean.
now I want to show you something. See, as we're coming down, see if I try to catch this for a reversal. I know this is a third wave, right? What do I need? What am I looking for? I'm really looking for the only thing I'm looking for here is a perfect setup. I don't get it on the 20 at 6:30, right? But what do I want?
Right.
I want a buyer stopped out is what I want to get, right?
Okay.
So I can't stop out this wave to the low. Does that make sense? So I either need a new wave to the low, right? So if you look over here, I need one of two things to do an assessment here, right? This whole thing's my wave to the low. It's going to be almost impossible to get below it. So I'm going to shift gears. I'm going to go, I want another buyer stopped out. I'm going to basically start the process over. So I want this guy stopped out, right, to go higher, right? So see this over here? So first I want you to notice something. Now, see once I get over that guy, now start counting all your longs off of that, right?
Yeah.
And so I get over the guy. I need to come back. Purple bar, point of control above. Do I go to profit? Indeed, I do. I don't have to worry about the wave at this point because I'm already working off of this. I no longer have to worry about the wave. It's only when you're trying to bottom fish that very bottom wave that you want to make sure you get 2 bars the right direction before you take it. Does that make sense?
Right, because that's the only way to know that the wave is actually complete.
Right. And so here would be a good question. Well, Simon, aren't I below the wave to the high now? Right. So you got to remember this is where it gets a little bit hard when I'm explaining things, right? If you looked, notice that as long as you hold this last buyer that got stopped out, see the pink bar with the star pushes to profit, right?
Yep.
Purple bar, star, pushes to profit. Not much, and again, we don't trade at that 7:55 time frame, but it does give you a quick exit out, right? And what you'll also notice is once we break that guy, see how we break that over here with the orthodox close underneath? See how the whole character of that thing ends up changing there? And you have to start over. See how they make that impulse move down? Like that's a big, I know it doesn't look very big here, but that's 13,023 to 13,087. So I don't know how other people trade, but I count that as big. Now, two things about that. That creates me what? A new wave to the low, right?
Yep.
So remember, there's 2 ways to measure this. Okay. So the cheap way to measure this is like this. If you just wanted to keep it, hey, always keep it simple. You got to get above that to go long. So let's look to the right. Once we get above, does it do what it was supposed to do? It does, right? Got above it. Backside test took off, right? So what's the other way? So what's the second? So that's frustrating when that happens, right? That didn't give us a trade setup, right?
Yeah.
So we switch gears, right? On the same process, 24 tick. Did it set up there? So let's go look at the difference between the 20 and the 24. So when we look at the 20 and the 24, this is why we have 2, because lo and behold, notice you closed above, purple bar, star, right? Now, in addition, notice on the 24, what do you see down there at the bottom at 8 o'clock?
Yeah, the star with the pink bar at the very, very bottom.
Even more importantly, what kind of wave is this?
Oh yeah, third wave too.
Third wave, right? Bigger than the prior 2 waves, right? So what do I want? I see the third wave. Now I got to be a little bit patient on a third wave, right? What do I need to see? 2 up bars.
2. Yeah.
These are my 2 up bars. Otherwise, I'm going to get run over.
Gotcha.
2 up bars. And what do I want when I get that? Will you please come back and test that? That's 2 times in one day for a 100-point trade.
And the nice thing about that setup, Simon, is that you're not guessing, oh, it's a pink bar with a star, so I'm just going to buy every single one. It's, okay, I have a structural reason to be looking long now, and I have a precise price point that I'd like to get filled. So if it comes back and fills you, that's going to work really often.
I agree.
It might not fill you, but when you get filled, it should work a lot.
Right. So the next is when you get the next thing to look at here, right? So if you'll notice, once you get this third wave and you get the 2 bars that print, what you should notice in general is once you get that third wave, most of your long signals should work. So watch. Purple bar, star. Purple bar, star. Purple bar, POC above. Purple bar, star. All the way through there. You can stack that trade. That is like a picture perfect. Now, I don't trade at 8:30 in the morning, but that is a picture perfect look at what I want. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So now when we're going up, right? So here's what did I just say? Because someone could throw this back the other way. So first of all, it's 8:30 in the morning in all fairness, and it was open drive higher. And no one in the I want to be clear, no one in the room got crushed on this. This is pretty much hands off time for me. But if you look, see once you got the third wave here, this is the third wave now at the top, right? So what do you need to get underneath that third wave? You need to get underneath here, right? And this second bar tells me that that third wave is complete, right? So now let's go through and do. So this was so blindingly fast, guys, that just whoever's watching this, that I don't think there's a human alive who could have traded this. This is only looking backwards that this would have worked. But that's your entry. It allowed you to scale. That's your entry. It allowed you to scale. That's your entry. It allowed you to scale. You're still all on the third bar, right? That's your entry. Got you to scale. I'm not, and I wouldn't, as you were in the room this morning, I was encouraging everyone just to keep their hands off the thing, right? This is your first place you take a stop, is right there. Again, you had to move so lightning fast. You had like seconds to make this work. So let's go.
Realistically, it's not going to work, but the concept, the edge is still there. It's just a matter of having fingers fast enough to actually execute it, which most people don't. I certainly don't.
So let's look at it the other way, because sometimes it'll stop. So like we all saw, this was nuts. We weren't trading this 9 o'clock thing. So, but let's say you were, right? Let's just say we followed it blindly, right? So this bar right here is where we'd start looking for longs, right? So let's see if we get hammered or not, right? So I can tell you do, right? Like if you can't identify that the market's in a free fall here, you shouldn't be day trading. Like that's all there is to it. You shouldn't be day trading. You should just walk away because you're going to lose a lot of money. But if you did, right, the other part is the controlled risk, right? So remember, you've now identified a third wave, right? And you've got, this would be your first setup. That's a stop. This is a stop. This is a stop, right? Now, so you might look at it and go, well, the process doesn't work there, but did it? The market fell from, let's be clear, the market fell from 13,224 to 12,940. That's almost a 300-point drop in that rip, right? Which is why I mean it's like it's in a free fall. I told everyone in the room just stand aside. It wasn't a problem. At least it wasn't a problem for me.
It was
right?
over 15 minutes. I mean, you got to understand this was not like. I mean, if you were paying any attention to momentum, if you were watching the DOM, there should have been. Yeah, like it's hard to describe, but like the momentum is so intense, there's really no reason to fight that when it does that.
Right, but even within that context, right? If you took the losses here, this is a 15-point loss, this is a 15-point loss, and this is a 15-point loss, and this is a 15. Excuse me, we weren't here because we weren't triggered till over. This was our first trigger. 1, 2, 3.
Right.
So it was 45 points in loss to an attempt to get a V shape in exchange for. Right, because and by the way, if you were going to do this, which I think is nuts, right, and you finally got hooked up, you did get hooked up from 12,950 to 13,09. You recovered all your losses if you stayed consistent through that, right? So not a problem. I didn't trade it. I wouldn't want to trade it. Not a big deal, right? But my point is, ask yourself this: what would be a better method for risk control if you're going to catch the falling knife, right? And the answer is there isn't.
That's your plan. That's your plan. Catch the falling knife. I don't know what other strategy can do it.
Right. So next, what do we have here? We have another third wave, right? So what do we need on another third wave? If again, I would wait. I would not be taking this, right? So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to wait till this dust clears. But again, same principle. Another new third wave. Star, purple bar star. You get your two positive bars. So your two positive bars ends right here, right? This is the close. Hoping for a backside test. Again, it's a 15-point stop, give or take. And you got paid, right? So now, two things. You've broken the swing here, but you haven't broken the wave yet. So remember, there's a difference. Breaking the swing, right? When we come back in that little swing, it provides structure. It didn't set up along there, right? What I really want is that when I get this structure, right, I have one or two ways of doing it. The more conservative way is going, look, I've got to get above this last wave. And if we follow that to its natural conclusion, right, we can cheat, right? This is my first last wave, and then this is my new last wave to the low. So when I get above that, did we start going higher? Indeed, we did. That part of the process worked very nicely, and you should change all your focus to the long side of the trade, and it did exactly what it was supposed to do, right? And you can't pre-plan that. That's obviously how that worked out. So when I look and I get my third wave, so now let's do something a little bit different. Let's try to take our longs as we're coming down and see what would happen to us, right? So I'm going to have two caveats about that. Once this bounces like this and I clear back underneath this guy, see how I stop this buyer out and I got underneath? I'm going to wait till I can kind of shift the tables or get another third wave down here. So see, each time as I'm going to the low, even if I'm not shorting, I'm going to wait. I'm going to go, oh, there's a third wave. I can start looking long again. So remember, right, here's a circumstance where if you're taking the trade, so you didn't get, actually I take it back. You needed a purple bar, star, you just don't get it here, right? So let's just start taking our trades. We know we completed the third wave down. So now what are we looking for? Purple bar, star. Purple bar. We have a new wave to the low. Stop, right? Minus 15. Purple bar, star. You're off to the races.
Big time, babe.
Right? And now you're over. So again, this is where I'm really hoping it would come. You're always hoping, hey, please come back here and backside test me so I can get this continuation higher. And as you can see, it's been a hallmark of this market. We've just raced. Now, what am I looking for on the other side, right? Can you guess? What am I looking for to give me a clue that we might be topping?
You're looking for a third wave is the first thing.
Yeah, and once I get the third wave, right? So now I need two very specific things, either a pink bar with a star or a pink bar and a bar to the downside. Hold on 1 second. I'm getting... Okay, so now so what do I need to go lower, first of all, Ben?
So first we need to break that wave, or else we need, to go lower, you mean? Like to get back to the low? Yeah, we need to take out that power bar.
100%. So the next thing is, what if I'm trading up here and I've got a third bar? Do you see how in this circumstance, it just didn't set us up to the short side?
Right.
Let me ask you, do I want to keep taking my longs once I have a third wave?
I probably wouldn't up there, no.
Right. I wouldn't either, right? So if you did, let's say you're just absolutely certain we were going up here, right? So let's go look through your trades, because I always like to look at it, well, where was it tough? Not where was it easy, right? So if you took a long here, did you get to scale?
Yep.
You sure did, right? So you're up, you're stopped, you're scaled and stopped, right? You're scaled and stopped, and you're long right there. Purple bar, star up, and you got paid again.
Yeah, I see it.
But so what are the other ways that we could have? So I got to tell you, if I got this wave and I got this wave, I can tell you right now, I'm not taking any of those longs right now. There's just no way.
Okay.
Right? I'm just like, okay. Yeah. And it was a tough market, I'll grant you that, but there's no way I'm taking my longs there. And here's the other question, right? So see how you got this third wave again? Right? So here's an example of where you got that star bar. You absolutely have to make sure you get this next bar. So you only have two ways of fixing this. Let me address this. See how you needed the first two bars down to make sure the wave completed? right? Because otherwise you
Yeah.
run the risk of getting one of those mega waves where it runs you over, right? So there's two strategies on this. You can either take the down triangle and know that you have the wave completed, and you can do a
Okay.
half-half strategy, half here, half on the backside test, full stop on top, or you just go, hey, it either gives me a backside test or I missed the trade. In this case, it didn't give the backside test, and it gave you a monster drop to the downside. But, excuse me, but after getting that third wave, if you had focused on your shorts, right, it still came back to give you another trade. Remember, and I want to emphasize this to people who are watching this, we're not trying to capture the whole 100-point move, right? If you're trading with leverage and you get this here, right, and your stop's right here, let me tell you guys, and Ben, you know as well as anyone, right? You take it to 93 and you roll this thing down to 46, that's almost a 50-point, $1,000 contract trade, right?
Right. Like I've already at that point I've already hit my daily goal as long as I haven't been like trading like a donkey before that. Like that's that, and that's the thing is like the key is just to stay on process even when you take like let's say you took that first stop, and then you just have to be ready and know yes I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I just need to keep doing it, or rather than getting into that oh did I make a mistake? That's the hardest part.
I agree with you 100%. Now, so not all markets are easily tradable, right? But if you went through this process, right? If you went through this process all day long, remember the idea is first of all, what do we have to do to get lower right now? We've got to break this. Like that should be your line in the sand. So first of all, let's go find out if that's true, right? We either need a new high, right? So you want to step it together piece by piece, right? So let's go over to the right. That red line is what we have to break, or we need a new wave to the high. Now, do we have a new wave to the high?
Yes.
Indeed we do. So guess what? Now to go lower, right? So this really helps regulate your bearishness, right? Just take that and scoot it up. That's your new line in the sand, right?
Sure.
Now,
Because that's the new wave. Okay.
Now do you have a new third wave?
Yes.
Yes. So now, right? Now you can start looking for your potential short setups, right? So you get the third wave. What do you have to do to make sure that third wave is printed?
Wait for 2 bars.
Wait for 2 bars. 2 bars. That wave up is printed. Now you need, what is this? Is that an entry for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Pink bar star.
Okay, watch.
Sure.
Now look, you've closed underneath, right? So first of all, you've already hit a home run there if you took that trade.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else you're looking for, but that's a home run, right? You get one more attempted entry here. You got a scale or a full closeout because it gave you a nice trade. And then so this is a modified. See when you get that pink bar and you get 4 vertical bars sideways, this shows up not a lot, but enough. As long as you don't break the upper plane of this is still a valid entry. Okay, that's more complex, but it's a 1 bar stop in exchange for you've gotten your third wave, you get 4 bars sideways. That's a good shot to the downside. The other thing is I'm not taking my shots to the long side anymore. Till when?
Until you get a third wave down.
Now I get my third wave down. Now I get my third wave down, right? So now I can start looking to flip it the other way. Does that make sense?
Yep.
What do you get over here?
Oh, there is PSC above the purple bar.
That's right.
That's perfect.
Now that's New York lunch. Again, I'm usually done by now. And now notice you get a new wave to the high over New York lunch, right? So I got to keep modifying this. I've got to get underneath this. Now I've got to get underneath this, right? Now notice in that wave to the high, what did I get?
We've got, what do you mean?
New third wave.
The third wave. Oh, yeah, right. I see what you're saying. The new wave to the high made a third wave.
Right. Absolutely. So now I need what? I need pink bar with a star. I don't get it. Now it pushes to 1 more high. That's all right. Why? Because I've got my third wave. Now, what do I get? Pink bar.
There it is. Yeah.
Star. And
now.
I
see. So even though it's a higher high,
As long as
You've
the
already
wave
put in
is,
the third wave, so you're already flipped to looking for shorts.
as
That,
long as the buy
okay, I'm
wave is
glad that came
divergent.
up. That makes sense.
Yeah, as long as the bar is divergent, then I'm
Yeah.
looking for, and then you'll see, look, see here, once we established underneath the wave again, backside test,
Okay.
pink bar star, it's a 1
Yeah.
bar stop. So let's be fair. I would have taken this too, right? Entry, right? I doubt I scaled it. I got stopped back here and I took it again. The question
Yep.
is the risk reward, right? 1 bar stop versus, what is that, 5 to 1?
Exactly. And those are the ones I need to make sure I'm taking, because if anything, that's my missing piece right there. And I get stopped in the first one, I back off and say, wait a minute, maybe I'm going the wrong direction. And then it flips, and I'm like, oh, no, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right. And then occasionally, sometimes it just doesn't set up for us, except here, the setup is a little bit different. You got a third wave off the bottom. See how that wave is bigger than the prior 2 waves? It flips both ways.
Yes.
Once you get a third wave off
Okay.
the low, you do not want to fade that. Let me be clear. You do not want to fade the first wave if it's a third wave off the bottom, or if it's a third, like this wave right here. See how that's a third wave down? Do not try to go long into that wave. You will have a very bad day. Okay, that is going to be resistance until it's broken, right? So that's how we're using the third wave in conjunction. And it's really a pretty simple formula. If I get a third wave, right, I can start looking for my setups, right? And sometimes you get a third wave up, like see how this is a third wave back up? It just doesn't give you the setup over here. See this? We just don't get it on this, right?
Yeah.
We just don't get it there. There's nothing bad about it. Just it didn't happen, right? So again, I'm going to go and shift gears here on you, and I'm going to go back the other way. Did we get it on the other bar, right?
Okay, right.
So same area, right?
All right.
Same area. We got triangle up, star down, and I know that's a setup, but I don't want to discuss it here. And really, if you look at that, concept there in terms of on this third wave down, right? See how that became a third wave off the bottom? Now look at all your, if you can get a push up, right? Pink bar, star, continuation lower. Here's where the third wave ends. Up. This is your third wave. See how that's your third wave right there?
Yep.
So we just don't get the setup here. Just pure and simple. We don't get it. Had this bar not been any higher, it would have been there, but we just don't get it. That's okay. You can use the triangle up, triangle down there, but I don't want to confuse people, and I don't want to confuse you with the setup, right? And then here's another example of where, see, you get that third wave down at 1243. See that? At 1227, excuse me.
Yes.
See that? Right here's where it ends. See how it doesn't give you the star, so never mind. But as you're hunting through the course of the day, is my point. As you're hunting through the course of the day, like these just come up over and over again. You don't have to, like you already know, look, if you're going through this and you're just taking it blindly, you're going to be able to get off most of your trades. Look, off to profitability. No. Yes, to profitability. What I mean by that is that's 15, 20 points in that little move, right? Point of control, if you're willing to take it blindly, so what you've got to be able to gauge is, see, by the time this bar printed, that's what I wanted to point out. Purple bar, point of control, you have to make sure that third wave ends. So again, you had to take it on that second bar and then hope for a backside test of this bar to add, or you miss the move.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the modification on that trade. So we have a lot more to cover. We'll do another coaching session here, hopefully early next week. And
sure, yeah, these are super helpful. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, so I want everyone to realize in the room in particular, or anyone watching, that if you go blindly, right? So the blind spot of where you start, right? Just starting blindly is if you get a pink or purple bar, right? That's a very easy place to start, right? I'm looking over here. Do I have a pink bar? So I have two questions after I get a pink bar initially. Do I have the point of control underneath, yes or no? Or do I have a purple bar? And then do I have a star? That's the first question you're asking in that process. And then when you're in the room, right, we're constantly doing trader development, right? You have to go through and build the concept of the wave and the idea of So you have to get bigger structure, and there's all kinds of ways to measure structure, which we discussed. So the wave is one way. The other way is just using the power bars that we have in the room. And I just want to cover this really quickly. If you can't comprehend the wave, right, just go look. I've got to get underneath the wave to go lower, right, and not close back above it. I got to get underneath the wave. I get underneath the wave. I come back. Pink bar, point of control underneath. I go lower. If I want to go higher, right? So let's say I want to go higher here, right? What do I need? I got to get above this to go higher. That's just all there is to it. I got to get above that structure to go back up, and then I can use it the same way, right? Now what this relies on, right? What this relies on, say this is your structure, is the idea that it'll come back and backside test and give you the trade. And the answer to that is sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, right? The quick, cheap, and dirty way is just draw this off, right? The more complex way is look for the third wave. Like, see how that's a third wave right there that didn't make it to the high?
Yeah.
That's a big tell. Let me see something here. You can tell I'm addicted. I can't stop. And this is why I have 2 time frames on my chart at the same time. Same area, pink bar, star to the downside, right? See how I ended up with my see how I have a third wave down, 1. Look at the prior 2 waves. See this? You can look at both waves to determine, right? And you know what the big tell is on these third waves to the downside is if they break a power bar down, and now you got the push. And now look at the continuation. Pink bar, point of control underneath, pink bar, star. All of those are 1 bar stars for a beautiful roll to the downside, right? And over here, right, when you look over here, and you can say, hey, Simon, what about this? We got back above, right? We got a third bar. We got back above, so on and so forth. What about this? What if I took this purple bar and this star? Okay, well, I have an answer for that. That's a stop, right? Not everything's going to be perfect, right? And you just got to know there's going to be stops involved, right? The only thing that would have changed my mind is you still got another big, if you look at that in bigger context, you still got another big push to the upside, and they couldn't go anywhere with it. But that's more complex analysis. So anyways, I'm going to jump. I got to get my daughters. I'm glad you had a good day. I'm glad the things in the room are working the way we intend them to. That's really a big plus for all of us. And we'll just keep working it.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks again, Simon.
Hey, and Ben, if they want to talk to you or communicate with you over Twitter, what's your it's at Red Ben, is that right? At Red Ben Trader?
Red Ben Trader.
Yeah. And Ben is super helpful. Tons of resources. Ben, you've been in how many rooms now?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Yeah, at least 12.
12. Okay, so I just want to communicate. You know, when I tell people this is the real deal, there's like, oh, that's BS. You know, he's talking his own game. But this is really different than stuff you'll find in other rooms. It's pinpoint. It's controlled risk. You do have to learn the process, and it takes a little bit of time.
There's a lot of work, and the hard work pays off. And I think the difference is it's I go into every day knowing that everyone's on the same page, looking for the same trades with the same plan, and that cohesiveness it keeps me focused. And I know how to measure whether or not I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I can see the progress like accelerating from month to month. Night and day difference from any other room I've ever been in. I'll be completely honest. Not only results rise, but just where I actually feel like I'm learning something and that I can apply every single day, rather than just getting good at reading charts. I'm actually able to take trades and make money. Huge difference.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate it, Ben. I'll send you this video shortly, and of course, it's okay to share this with the public. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, very cool. Well, thank you for your time, and thanks for being such a great team member in the room and contributing to everyone's success. And let's just keep doing it.
Let's do it. All right. Thank you, Simon.
You bet. Talk to you later, my friend. Have a great night.